Hey guys, this video is going to be a lot different than my others. Instead of showing you gameplay, we're just going to have a discussion. We're going to talk about the economy and what SBI is doing to improve the state of the economy, improve the gold prices. For some of you, this might be a little bit dry, but I'm going to give you some some valuable information that no one is talking about. No one else is going to come to you with this perspective. So I hope you stick around and listen. Now, with respect to the economy, by the way, I'm basically a self-taught economist in real life. I trade equities, I trade stocks. Right now, I'm heavy in gold. I have been for a couple of years. Basically, what I do in real life is I pay attention to the economy. I try to predict where it's going to move, and then I make money in the process. Well, I do the same thing in Albion, and now I have 5 billion silver. It's pretty easy to predict as long as you understand what's going on behind the scenes. And I have a pretty good understanding of what is going on behind the scenes because of my real life experience. So basically, let me just break this down. SBI has 3 goals, all right? To make this as simple as possible. They want to lower gold prices in game. So right now, they've pretty much steadied around 8,000. They were approaching 10,000 silver per gold. Maybe a month and a half, they announced some changes with respect to how much gold you could buy and sell per day. They put some limits on that. And so that crashed the price from almost 10,000 down to 7,000 or a little lower. And then it recovered and steadied around 8,000. All right. So that's one goal they have, lower gold price in game. And there are several reasons for that. Number one, they want to help new players, and they want it to be an attainable goal for new players to make enough silver to purchase their premium using silver, all right? But they also have some, I don't want to say selfish, but like they're trying to benefit themselves in this process as well, because their second goal is to turn a consistent profit in real life. SBI is a for-profit company. They're trying to make money, and they absolutely should. This is the best game that I've ever played in my life, and they work their butts off to make it happen. They should expect to make money, and they should make money. That's the only way they're going to be intrinsically motivated to continue to develop in this game and pump out the updates and keep it interesting, right? So that's reason number 2. And then number 3, they're trying to combat silver inflation. Of course, silver inflation works into their other 2 goals, because the more silver inflation there is, the more expensive premium becomes in terms of silver purchase price, and that has negative effects on newer players. It becomes very hard for them to purchase premium with silver without having to spend real money, but also it's very easy for people like me sitting on billions of silver to continue to pay for premium with silver and never have to spend any money. So the richer players, like the people that have been around for a while, they have, full spec. It's easy for us to make money. They're never going to make a penny from us. And that's kind of unfair in a way. I mean, when I first started playing Albion, I bought premium. I think it was like a $10 package. I got a month of premium. I think 1,000 gold. And I forget what else. There's a couple different things. It was a good deal. In that 1 month, I made enough money to pay for my premium the next month, and then from there it just got easier, right? I've spent a total of $10 on Albion, and I've played since 2019. So that's unfair in that I'm not contributing to the upkeep of the game. I'm not contributing to funding the development. So that's one perspective, right? And I think SBI is trying to tweak that a little bit so that everyone sort of fairly contributes. And ultimately, what they're trying to do is make it less profitable for the end game players to make money in perpetuum by just stomping everyone else, taking their gear. And they're making it more lucrative for the newer players. So I need to explain to you how that happens, though. The best ways to talk about the steps SBI has already taken to make this a reality. All right. So I guess number 1, let's look at some patch notes. This is the most recent patch note. Near the bottom here, it says the trash rate of equipable items has been increased slightly, while the trash rate of non-equipped items... Okay, the last part doesn't really matter. The main point here is the trash rate has been increased. All right, it was 15%. Now it's higher than 15%. They don't tell us how much it has been increased. They just say slightly. But I imagine it's something like 5%. So it's probably like a 20% trash rate. But I want to show you this video because this has been happening more and more recently. I killed this guy. He dove me in this dungeon. I killed him. Every freaking thing trashed. There's one item here, or like I think I got the potions and the food. Everything else trashed. Are you kidding me? This is becoming more common. Now that's an outlier. That does not always happen. The chances of that happening are pretty small. But it's happened several times recently. So whatever this slight trash rate increase is, it's not negligible. Like, I'm feeling the impact already. Let's go look at another update. This takes us back all the way to October of 2023. Transmutation and enchantment changes. So here they're talking about increasing the cost of transmutation. Decreasing the cost of transmutation to make it more readily available for awakened weapons. But along with that, due to these changes, enchantment prices have also risen. Otherwise, their increased usage would lead to an escalation in artifact prices. The amount of fragments required for each level of enchantment has therefore doubled. Okay, so what this means is, let's say you have a T6 Hellion jacket that you want to upgrade and make it T6.1. Well, that used to cost you 96 T6 runes to upgrade it from flat 6 to 6.1. Now it costs 192 runes to upgrade it to 6.1. 192 souls to upgrade it to 6.2. 192 relics to upgrade it to 6.3. It used to be half that. Now if you want to upgrade a weapon, a full two-hand weapon, it costs 384 runes, souls, relics, whatever. So this sent a ripple effect to the markets initially. The price of rune, souls, and relics crashed. Not quite 50%, but almost. It was like a 40% crash overnight. This pissed me off because I used to hoard runes, relics, and souls because I used to upgrade items en masse. And you can make so much money doing this. You can really make a lot of money doing this. So I had stockpiles of them. And from time to time, I would accumulate T6 and T7 items and then just upgrade them. And I made millions and just tens of millions easily. You can't do that anymore because of this update. So yeah, those are two major changes. But they've also nerfed silver generation, right? If you go open world and you kill mobs, you're not getting as much silver as you used to. The passive silver generation has been nerfed, and this is contributing to combating that silver inflation. So they've increased the trash rate, they've nerfed silver generation, and they've doubled the upgrade requirements for gear with this update here. So what are the effects of that? What has that actually caused in the real world? How do we see this effect? How are they actually combating inflation? Well, so first off, it made it uneconomical to use rune, souls, and relics for upgrades. So what this did is it transferred the value. But basically, if you want to make higher level gear, like let's say 6.1 and higher, now the value is in the raw materials. It's no longer in the souls, runes, and relics. So the value no longer comes from PvE. You used to be able to do solo dungeons, open world, solo boss dungeons, whatever. And they continually nerfed the loot from those dungeons, or from whatever content, even Nightfall Abbeys, continually nerfed it to where you're mostly just getting runes, relics, and souls. Well, now the value of those runes, relics, and souls are nerfed. So PvE is not the time spent doing PvE is not as valuable as it once was, and they've nerfed the trash rate on gear. So PvP is not as valuable as it once was. But who does PvP content? It's people with high spec, end game players, people that have been playing for years. So their time is no longer as valuable. People who spend a lot of time PvE, their time is no longer as valuable. However, whose time is more valuable? I'll show you. It's people who gather, right? T6 hides, look, trending up steadily. T6.1, 6.1, trending up steadily. 6.2. All right, not as obvious, but keep in mind that this process has been underway for quite some time. So prices have had a chance to level off and start fluctuating again, but the overall trend is going to be up, especially in these higher tier. This is 6.3 hide. Let's look at 7.3. I don't think 7.1 will give us a look. Trending steadily upwards. Flat 7. Trending steadily upwards. This trend has been going on for months, okay? So a month ago, 3,100. Now average price, 3,300. But you used to be able to get T7 hides for like 15, 16, 1,700. The price has doubled in a matter of months. So this is very good. If you're a gatherer, this is amazing. Your time is more valuable. The risk to reward is more optimal. And overall, this has optimized the experience for newer players at the cost of more experienced late game high spec players. I'm telling you, I've spent untold hours playing this game as an end game near max spec player. And I just don't make as much money as I used to. Now, I don't need to. I have a 5 billion silver pot here. I still have essentially infinite silver. I'm only saying that not to complain. I'm not complaining. I think the optimization that SPI is doing here is necessary and is perfect. They're doing it in a slow, sustained manner. And no one is even recognizing or realizing this. It's pretty much just me. And now I'm telling you. But the experience for newer players should be improving. They should be able to make more money with the same risk, and they should be able to afford gold more easily. I think the gold price should stay leveled off around 8,000. It'll probably fluctuate between, 7 and low 8,000s for a while. But they also said in the last patch they're introducing a mechanic, which I don't fully understand, to combat inflation, and I think it translates somehow to the price of gear repair and your journey back. All this is going to become more expensive because all of these things are silver sinks, and they're going to become more expensive. If the price of gold goes up, the price of repairing your gear goes up, the price of recall goes up. All these silver sinks become more expensive as the price of gold goes up, and that'll naturally bring the price back down. Now, I'm a free market economist. I don't like this sort of manipulation. I understand it. I understand the reason for it. I'm not against it. I don't like it, but I'm not against it, if that makes sense. I understand why they're doing it. But yeah, so this has made raw materials more expensive, more valuable, and even refined materials more valuable. There's been a window of time where you could refine materials before people caught on to this and the trend became clear. You could make a lot of money refining materials because the raw materials were still cheaper, but the end materials, the actual, Hellion jackets, battle axes, freaking all the leather equipment was more expensive. So the money could be made in refining the cheap raw materials into more expensive refined materials and then further into finished products. There was a lot of money to be made. But now that process has mostly worked itself out and we're back to not being able to make much money. But merchanting has become much, much less lucrative. It's harder to merchant. I haven't been able to make much money because the margins are lower. So essentially, I don't know, let's look at Hellion Jacket 6.1. Let's look at excellent. I always buy excellent. All right. Well, the margin on that is actually still pretty good. That's a poor example. 5.2. All right. So 200,000 with a buy order, 275 to buy now. The margin is 75K. Well, 75,000 is what, 1/4 roughly of this price, 275, 25%. Well, a sell order, a setup fee is going to cost you 2.5%. You're going to have the same setup fee when you go to sell it, and there's an extra 4% premium fee, so it's like 10% overall. And then there's risk, like maybe your buy order doesn't get filled there, and then you'll just have to put the buy order in again, and then you have to pay the setup fee again. At the end of the day, when this is your spread, it's not worth your time. And most of the spreads are equalizing like this on items that have, decent volume, like, 50, 60, or a couple hundred per day. The spread is not going to be very good. And this becomes very obvious when we look at something like a T7 fish. So yeah, the spread is only a few hundred silver because there's a lot of volume. 6,000 per day, 3,000. There's like on average 4,000 or 5,000 of these sold per day. High volume, low margin. That's becoming the trend across the board as SPI makes these changes. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. It's harder to make money. Therefore, more people will be incentivized to go up here. And wait, where is it? Well, okay, yeah, get gold. More people are incentivized to go here and spend their hard-earned IRL money for in-game currency. It's just how it has to be. But I wanted to explain this to you guys so you sort of know how to orient your time better. Gathering is kind of where it's at now. You can make good money. To me, it's boring. I still don't gather. I mean, PvP is all I care about, really. I usually find my PvP content through PvE content by getting, jumped by gankers or dived in solo boss lairs or whatever. That's how I find my content. But I never actually set out to gather. But for those of you who do, it is worthwhile. It is worth your time now. You can make good money gathering because of these changes. That's really where the low risk, high reward is these days. It's weird. Like, it's never been that way before. You start out as a new player, you start gathering. Then you can afford to buy some decent PvE gear. Then you start PvEing to get your spec up, and then that process takes like a year. And then you can start PvPing. You have decent spec. You can actually compete with people, with the higher level gear, with the higher spec. And that's when the game starts to become very, very fun. But now, it's more lucrative early on to just be a gatherer and be the guy behind the scenes getting the raw materials so that those who choose to do PvE, and mostly PvP, you're providing the materials for them to just do that on repeat. But it's more expensive for them to pursue their interest and more rewarding for you to pursue yours. So I hope that was clear. I hope that was useful. Like I said, no one is realizing what's going on. No one understands why they're doing these updates. There's a lot of complaints on the forums. But at the end of the day, if you want an awesome game and an awesome development team behind it, you have to pay for it somehow. And this is how it happens. Now you know. Give me a comment. I'll talk about this with you guys in the comments. I love answering comments. If you guys have questions, let me know. Let's discuss. But I think this is long-term a good change for SBI in that SBI will benefit from this. End-game players will benefit passively in that SBI is still there, making content for them, keeping them interested. And newer players find it easier to finance premium. So we all benefit from this long term. Just, bear with it. And I think they're almost done with this process. I don't know what else they need to do. They've already reduced silver inflow and increased money sinks to the extent that I think they've already fixed the problem. It's just a matter of time. They just need to let it work itself out. But yeah, give me a like if you appreciated the information. Let's talk about it if you would like to. And I'll see you guys in the next video.